All right. Well, thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it. My name again is Chris Garcia, and I'm going to go ahead and just start sharing my screen if that's cool. And the reason why is because a lot of I'm more of a visual person, so give me a second here as I get ready to share my screen. All right. Sweet. So my focus is going to be talking to you guys about how to be the best online student. But again, my name is Chris Garcia, and I am an adjunct professor also at the University of San Diego. And I'm going with that title only more because I really want to just hammer in as far as like expectations. Uh, uh, I've been doing this for the last 4 years, and I really want to encourage you, what I'm about to share with you guys as more of as tips and tricks of the trade that are going to make you guys successful. And you guys have the advantage because you guys aren't necessarily my students, so I'm not grading you guys on this. But take my advice because I do talk to other professors when it comes to etiquette and whatnot, as far as the expectations that we have for our students. But I wanted to go over my bio only to serve as a form of encouragement for a lot of you guys. I got a chance to tap into the last session, and I really wanted to just kind of show you that. First off, I didn't start going to school until I was 21 years old. So I didn't go to college. So for 3 years, I was just working, and I realized the importance of higher education. So I went to junior college. In 2008, I graduated from junior college with my associates in transfer of studies. And I did that because I wanted to get out. Junior college, especially the one that I went to, was one of those whirlwinds where people told me, hey, if you get stuck at junior college, you're going to be there. So I really went with the mentality like, hey, what classes do I need to do to just get out of here? And I decided to go to Davis. And the reason why I went to Davis was because I wanted to get out of San Diego for a little bit. I wanted that full on college experience. And at the same time, I had a chance to create some really, really cool friendships. Renatto is actually one of them. And we've been friends for, it's crazy to think, about 11 years now. So we've been friends for 11 years. So, and then from there, I continued on to the University of San Diego, and I got my master's in education and my teaching credential. And then 2 years ago, I got my administrative credential. So I'm actually able to apply to be an assistant principal, a principal at a school. I really love what I'm doing, and I'll explain that in a moment. But I do work for the Chula Vista Elementary School District. I've been doing that since 2013, and USD since 2016, and I've been serving as the vice president since 2017 on the San Diego Q board. And currently, I get a chance to teach over 4,000 sixth graders every single year on a one-day field trip experience. And the objective for this field trip is very simple. One, students get to learn about their strengths, interests, and values. And we have them go through an exam that's very interactive, very similar to kind of like a Myers-Briggs or an Enneagram, where the students learn about their strengths. And then we tie those in with careers. We tell them like, hey, well, your strengths line up really well with the veterinarian, with the firefighter, with the doctor, with the lawyer, with an auto mechanic or an engineer, and very tactile. And what we get to do with these students is we get to show them what decisions they have to make from junior high through high school in order to get through that career or to that career in the future. And then in the afternoon, we get to go through an engineering project where we present several societal problems, and we bring up to the students, how would you use technology to solve this? And I teach them a little bit of computer coding and computer robotics. So it's a really cool program. I wish they would have had that when I was a kid, but the very fact that now I get to go back and impact my community with that, I'm just really, really excited to do that. So, all right, so let's go ahead and dive into the topic of how to be the best online student. And again, you guys have the advantage because you guys are not my students, but I'm going to be frank and honest and tell you guys stories of students that I've had. I've been teaching online actually at USD for 4 years, and I've been teaching in person at USD for 1 year. So the beauty about all of that is that I got to see both spectrums. And the funny thing is, well, not really funny, but that this past semester in January, I was teaching credential students that were getting their master's and teaching credentials. And the technology and learning class I was teaching, it was in person from January all the way through the beginning of March. And then right when COVID-19 came, we had to go completely online. The irony behind that is that we were already doing things online. So I was preparing actually these teachers to be online teachers just so they could have their like Google certification, their Microsoft certification, and their Apple certification. And then after that, I had to put my money where my mouth was and actually instruct them online and share with them. All right, I'm going to coach and guide you guys. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be frank with you guys of what I saw. Some habits that were cool, some habits that were like, wait a second, you need to chill. So make sure you guys are, hopefully the session's being recorded so you guys can take mental notes. And if not, I can probably send you the slides as well. So let's start off with the first important thing, and that is it's just a normal day. We want to make sure retreat and whatever situation you go into with the university or junior college or wherever you guys are heading to, Monday through Friday, you want to create a consistent schedule. You want to create a consistent schedule. Separate your Mondays and Fridays from your Saturdays and Sundays. You want to have that mental separation, especially right now because who knows what day we're in sometimes. I'm on summer break, so I'm kind of like the days are flustered, but when we were even having this whole coronavirus pandemic, and I mean, we're still in it, while the school year was going, I specifically had to have a consistent schedule on Monday through Friday. I woke up at 7 o'clock every single day. I had to go out. I had to go for a jog or for a run. And that leads me to this slide right here. So you guys can, for those of you that are visual learners. So I had to make sure I got up and I went for a walk and for a run. I had my breakfast. And then I would also take a shower and I would get changed. I would get changed. I didn't want to be in my sleepwear all day. I had a collared shirt. I would make sure that I looked presentable. Another thing, and I'll talk more later on about this, but just having that sense of normalcy. For Saturdays and Sundays, no alarm, didn't do that. Didn't even put my computer, I would do it. I would use a separate computer if I could. Actually, I would use a separate computer for work and for just entertainment, for Netflix and whatnot. It's very important, especially during this time, to have a separation in our minds of what we're doing. So that's going to be really, really important. And I should also preface this. After every 3 questions, I'm going to be going back and forth with the Q&A. And it goes back down to the whole online teaching and online learning. I want to make sure that we're interactive in between our just discussion here. So number 1, treat it like just a normal day. Make sure you guys get ready. Have a start to finish time. I know I'm going to be at work. I'm going to be doing schoolwork from 9 to 5, and at 5 o'clock, I'm done. And I start studying from maybe 6 to 8. And if that's the case, or have a Zoom call or a Zoom conference, but try to avoid and try to create a schedule and try to find friends that have that same schedule as well. All right. Number 2, a separate workspace. And you're going to like what I'm going to share with you guys, especially if you have to have a separate workspace. I chose these 2 photos. I'm going to go over the first one. And the first one, you see there's a bookshelf right there, and it's separated by the bed. It's right there. Let's not focus so much on the safety aspect of it, but more of the purpose behind it. This specific person created a divider. They got a room divider. You guys can get those specific room dividers, and the reason why is because mentally, I would encourage you guys, it's hard to study. It's hard to have Zoom calls. It's hard to attend class if you're in bed. So you want to have a separate workspace. You want to train your brain. You want to train your mind to be like, all right, when I'm at this desk, very similar to the photo you see on the bottom, when I'm at this desk down here, I'm working. Every time I'm working. So that way, when I go to bed, my mind automatically knows like, this is resting time. This is a specific place where I am resting. So it'll help you stay productive. It'll help you stay on schedule. It'll help keep you organized. I mean, as a college student, I wish they had this also. I mean, they had Craigslist, so that was kind of cool, but it kind of got creepy towards the end of it. But then when OfferUp came out, hey, so if you need a divider, go to OfferUp. If you need a desk, go to OfferUp. I actually have a divider in the studio that I live in currently with my wife. Housing down here in San Diego is really expensive, so we're saving time and building up our finances to eventually purchase a home. But in our studio, what we've done is we've bought actually dividers to separate our bedroom from our living room, and even a specific workplace. The corner that I'm using in our studio right now is a working corner. I only sit at this chair when I'm working, and it helps mentally. It's just something powerful how our brain activates that. So if you're doing Zoom calls and homework in bed and trying to study in bed, and then you're trying to sleep, your brain's going to function like, okay, what's the difference between the two? And you don't want that. You want to have clear boundaries of your workspace. in your areas. Okay. All right. The next thing is turn off unnecessary media. All right. So if possible, keep your phone, your tablet, your television, any forms of media in a different room or in out of the designated classroom space. So that includes social media, Instagram, Snapchat, anything that you may be using. It's very easy to get distracted. I would encourage you, use the do not disturb function on your phones if you can. Turn off the television. Or if you want to have something like I got to hear some of that chill vibe music. If you do have that, like, then make your workspace like a coffee shop. I've done that before where I'll put like coffee house music and play that in the background. And I only play that when I'm working. Again, it's that mental boundary that you're trying to create. So you're going to want to do that and eliminate any extra distractions. Okay, and then we're going to talk about a method later on called the Pomodoro method, which is really cool. And I have a slide for that. But one of the things, just make sure you turn off all unnecessary media if you need to. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take a break. Does anybody have any Q&A, any questions so far? I don't want to just give you all this information. Go ahead and throw it in the chat feature or go ahead and ask as well. I'm going to look right here.
Really quick, what is the website for that? You said Afra. How do you spell that?
Oh, OfferUp. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. Like if you're looking for furniture, if you want to get a room divider, if you want to get a cheap desk, go to OfferUp. It's an app you can get. Yeah, it's you can look at the different types of things. I actually have purchased some room dividers through OfferUp before, $20, and it made the biggest difference in the world. So, and it's funny how the room divider will make you like you have two different workspaces. You have a resting space and you have a workspace specifically. So yeah, good question. Yeah. Hey, you guys are in college right now and you guys gotta like save money. So anything you guys can do. Okay. All right. If you do have any more questions or anything, just pop it in the chat feature and I'll continue answering as we get to the chance to move forward. Okay. All right. Next, you want to get to know your virtual classroom etiquette. And this is really, really important. I'm going to emphasize this for a few moments. So you don't know what your teacher or your professor may enjoy doing. They might use Zoom. They might use Google Classroom and Google Hangouts. They might use Microsoft Teams. They may use Skype. They may use Canva. They may use Blackboard. I didn't put those on here, but those are the things that universities use a lot. You want to be able to know how those functions work. So before the semester starts, just go over some YouTube tutorials really quick over each platform. Play around with it. Play around with the features. Play around with how it functions. Test your mic. Do one of those things where before you're going to log in, I do this with every single one of them. I always make sure my mic and my video camera is off because I don't want anything in the background to be said that should not be said. And I don't want people to see me until I feel like I'm ready to be seen. Okay. So that's going to be a big aspect. So that's the technical part about it. But here's the other thing as well. And this is the part that I definitely want you guys to really, really focus on. And when it comes to understanding, number one, make sure your microphone's always muted. Okay. And the other thing is like, look at the different features. As you can see down here, like for Zoom, you have I'm going to be taking a coffee break. Hello, I agree. I don't agree. Are you raising your hand or no? And the other thing I want to go over is when it comes to classroom etiquette is avoid using internet acronyms. You are entering an academic setting now where you're going to be communicating academically with a professional, with a professor that has gone through various schooling. And I will remember this. I mean, a lot of these professors that are tenured have been there for years. Please do not use LOL when you are communicating with them, or whether you are on the chat feature, or even if you are asking a question. Please don't put LMAO. Do not put anything like that. Definitely don't use anything else. I know of other ones. I'm not going to say it because I'm a professional as well. JK, later, real time, any of this stuff. Save that for your text messages. You do not want to communicate to your classmates or to your professor. You want to be able to separate the two. The other thing is that I will emphasize this, and this is one of the tad bits that I learned, even that I wish some of my students would have done, and I was asking for some of them. And when it came to grading, especially for class participation, that's going to look very different than it has in the past. When a teacher posts an assignment, when they make an announcement, when they're polling, you need to interact with them. You need to interact with them, because if you don't, then not like who you are. At the end of the day, the great change for me, if I knew the student would reach out, chances of me giving them an extension was a lot higher. Chances of me giving them a better grade. At the same time, working with them, aiding them, supporting them. If they were struggling with a resource or even with a paper, they would reach out, and I would take time because I had already established a relationship with them. I knew they were active. I knew they were. So anytime your professor, whatever platform it may be, sends you an email, put something on Microsoft Teams, on Zoom, asks a question, be the first one to respond. Be the first one, even if it's out of your comfort zone, because the reality is this: online teaching is out of everyone's comfort zone. All right, it's out of everyone's comfort zone. So it's not like, oh, I love doing this, it's fun. Some teachers do. They do enjoy it, but some teachers struggle with it. That's the biggest challenge we're facing. And I'm also going to say this: make sure you're presentable, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But make sure your camera's on. Make sure you did your hair. Make sure there's no distractions in the back. Some of the students that I was working with, and during our class time, they'd be laying down in their bed, and I'd see their double chin, and I'm like, all right, like, are you really grasping what I'm saying, or are you falling asleep? And I don't blame you for falling asleep, because you're in your bed. So be very cognizant. You have to, again, it's a mind game we are playing right now. So you have to be cognizant and aware of what you are doing. Okay. All right. Next, alarms and calendars. Those are going to be some of the biggest friends that you have. Okay. So whether you have an alarm, using it, your phone, a remind app, your phone, turning it off, turning off distractions, you're going to want to set an alarm for different things. The calendars have been one of my biggest friends. At the same time, I like looking at a calendar on Sunday nights, because I look at what my week looks like. Even though we've been on lockdown, even though I've been working from home since March, I still like looking at my calendar, because, again, like I said, the mind is a very powerful tool, and with the way the days look right now, we can get lost and we forget what day it is. But if you continually look at your calendar, if you continually look at your tasks, hey, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to eat breakfast, I'm going to work out. Put the little details, put the little nuances on there. Your calendar is going to look packed, but you're going to get reminders. You should be doing this right now. You should be focused on this. So we want to eliminate all distractions. And this is the time where we're being forced to really build up these strong boundaries and these strong habits that maybe we have not had a chance to. And I will tell you this: if you're 18 and 19 going into college, you have a better chance of creating these habits now. And as I am right now, 35 years old, it's hard. But I'm still doing everything I can to get it done. Okay. All right. The next thing is really important, and that is pace your work. You're going to want to take your time. All right. And I only put this photo on here of the tortoise and the hare because how long it takes. The fable of this is a fable. It's a story, and the whole overarching theme of the story is that nice and steady gets the work done. You have to be nice and steady to get your work done. And if you try to go really, really fast, you're going to miss a lot of things. One of the things I want to really encourage you, and what really helped me, again, it came back to communication from my college students that I was working with at USD, was the fact that things happened. What if they get sick? What if they get COVID? What if their family members get COVID? What if there's a situation happening and they need an extension and they need more time? And there were times where, I will tell you this, as a professor, my main concern was the social and emotional well-being of my students. So I gave them the advantage. As soon as the coronavirus thing hit, I did two things. Number one, I told them, I don't want you to stress out. I want you to finish strong. So what I'm going to do is this. And some students took advantage of it. Some of them didn't. I actually released all the schoolwork ahead of time. So I said, all right, all the assignments that are due in April and in May, they're all right here, because we are on a hiatus. We're on spring break right now. We have 3 weeks until you guys are supposed to go back to your internships or your student teaching. And I had my class was 19 students. I had about 5 students that in 1 week, they finished all the coursework. And after that, all they had to do was attend our every other week Zoom meeting that we had. I had other students that waited till the last minute, and they took a while. But one thing I did tell every single student, and the advantage that I had and the relationship that I built with a lot of students, was I gave them this. I said, hey, you know what? No penalties on your late work. I want you to take your time. I want you to pace yourself. I want you to find yourself a rhythm and a schedule. That's hard right now. So do whatever it takes to get it. So there's no penalties in late work. Again, that happened because of their attentiveness, because of their responsiveness. There were some students, though, I didn't show any mercy because they never commented. They never chatted. When I would ask questions, they never said anything. And they would only ask for favors. They would only ask for like, hey, can I have an extension? I'm like, oh, wow, nice to hear from you. No, I'm sorry, I can't give you an extension. And it's one of those things. It's like, it's going to be very important. You want to communicate with your professors and let them know that you're alive, that you're doing well, and that you, or if you're not doing well, let them know. But take your time, pace your work, all right? So just a heads up for that. All right. Any other questions so far that we have? Any technical questions as far as maybe what apps you should use? If you want more specific stories from any students? Check the chat feature really quick here. All right, ladies and gents. All right, let's continue forward then. All right, this next part, I did talk a little bit about it, but it's the actively engaged part, all right? So it can be difficult to engage even in a regular classroom, but engaging virtually can seem a lot more intimidating. So I want you guys to start off with, you just actively comment in this chat box. Then after that, when you feel more comfortable, then you can do video. One or the other. So let's just say, hey, Chris, you know what? I'm not a very big video person. Well, then be a big chat person. If you're not a big chatting person, then be a video person. And I do have a question from, I don't want to butcher your name, so I'm going to say Jones. Go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Sorry, that was an accident. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. All right. So you definitely want to be actively engaged. So as you can see, I have the Google Classroom right here. Questions. You want to have that collaboration and communicate with your classmates as well. So that's one of the things, again, like I told you, if you actively engage, it's going to work towards your advantage. It's not going to be where it's like out of your comfort zone. It's going to help in your grade. It's going to help in your collaboration. And at the same time, the letters of recommendation from your professors. I was able to I wrote around 10 letters of recommendation. And it was really cool because I was able to talk about the characteristics and even the academics and the communication styles of my students, because I got to see a lot more of that than I would have in the normal classroom. Okay. So that's going to be something that you're going to want to do, is keep the participation active. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about taking care of yourself. It's going to be a little challenging, but you want to avoid eye fatigued. All right. So I put 2 things that are extremely important. I unfortunately am not using them right now because I'm not always on the screen like I was back in the day. But I would encourage you guys, number 1, get some blue light glasses. Okay. Blue light glasses, you can get them for $5 on Amazon. Sometimes they come pretty stylish. I'm even trying to get some of the ones from Spider-Man Homecoming, or the Far Away From Home. Those are pretty dope. They have blue light glasses that look like that, but it helps your eye strain. Your eyes can get strained. You can get headaches. You don't want to do that. The other thing is this, is I'm actually using a music stand right now to help keep the camera face, because I don't want to be looking down. I don't want to be looking up. You want to keep eye contact. So that's why I put the photo right here. Use books. If you go to Costco, hey, you can get extra boxes if you go there. Hey, I mean, I'm not saying to do this, but I'm actually saying to do it. Down here in San Diego, we have a lot of these things called the free little libraries. You can take books. So I would take books from those little libraries if I was, in your position right now, and just stack them up. You want to take care of yourself. You want to take care of your neck. You want to take care of your headache, because if you have headaches constantly, you're not going to want to attend Zoom calls. You're not going to want to get work done. So you got to learn how to take care of yourself. Drink water. Have these glasses, the blue light glasses. All right. I do have. I'm gonna check the chat feature really quick. Oh, okay. No, it was just an announcement. So again, these are going to be 2 things you're going to want to do. All right. So blue, again, the phrase is blue light glasses. You want to get those on Amazon, really cheap. If you get them on eBay, and if you order them now, you can get them probably for like 99 cents, but it'll take about like 2 months to get to you, but you'll get them. All right. So the other thing is this: take frequent active breaks. And that's where I was going to talk about this. It's called the Pomodoro technique. All right. So what you do is this is really cool. My brother-in-law talked to me about this the other day, and my wife and I have actively tried this, and we thought this was pretty cool. You want to identify your tasks for the day. So if you have, this is not for classwork. This is more like for like, all right, if I'm working from 9 to 5, I have 2 classes, 2 Zoom calls or readings I have to do. You want to identify those tasks. You want to set a timer for 25 minutes, and you want to work for that duration of the timer. No interruptions. You understand that your timer is going to be the one that's going to give you your break. Once that timer goes off, then you take a 5-minute break. You're going to do that for around 4 different times. After the 4th break, you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. That's like your lunch time, your chill time. You can catch up on your, I would encourage you, because if you're doing a lot of screen work, try to stay away from social media still at that time or anything. Go out for a walk. Go out, get some fresh air. Breathe in, breathe out fresh air, because we're indoors a lot doing this kind of stuff. Unless you're doing and studying outside, if you can study in the backyard or whatnot. So that's going to be the case for that. Okay, so go ahead and just read this really quick. I'm going to get a sip of water. All right. So hopefully you guys are doing well. We're going to go ahead and now go up for the last part, and that is asking for assistance. Now, I only put this right here because you're going to want to know when your professors are going to have office hours. Don't ever be afraid. Even if it's just a quick, hey, I just wanted to come and say hi. Don't worry about, don't feel like you're trying to be, you're trying to kiss up or trying to gain brownie points. The reality is this, is that that's the professor's job. That's my job. I would put office hours. I would encourage students, let me know whatever it is that you need. At the same time, be bold enough to even ask for help, or not necessarily a proofread, because there's writing centers for that, but just advice. One of the biggest things I learned actually in my first class of junior college, and I should have done this, is that I was taking a communication class, and my professor really loved using finances and politics as examples that he would give. And I realized that when my classmates actually gave presentations over those 2 topics, he would applaud them. Like, great job. That's really cool. Awesome. Any other topic, then he would like strongly critique it because it got him thinking. So use that to your advantage. Find out what your professors like. Find out what kind of teaching style they have. Find out the things that interest them. Because it's not, again, you're not trying to suck up. You're trying to build a relationship with them, because at the end of the day, if you get a letter of recommendation, and because of the digital age now, if you connect with them on LinkedIn, you're setting yourself up for a huge success. And one of the coolest things actually was one of my professors at UC Davis was Professor Bob Ferris. And I like to share this story every now and then, because he was a great professor. I communicated with him a lot. He actually was a big support during when my grandmother passed away during finals week. So he helped a lot when it came to these extensions. But we connected on LinkedIn. We're Instagram friends. And lo and behold, his wife used to be married. Well, you guys probably know his wife, because that wife is Anna Ferris, but her husband used to be Chris Pratt. So it's kind of cool, because every now and then I'll comment on Professor Ferris's like family photos. Hey, great looking family. But after that, Chris Pratt's all like, hey, I love your family. Like, oh, this is dope. I'm here communicating. But it's one of those things where you become friends with your professor, and it helps you. It also serves as a form of mentorship. because they've achieved a specific area that has really helped them in the get to where they're at, and it helps you as well. So never be afraid to ask for assistance no matter what. And the last story I'll share with this is that my semester's done. I stopped teaching on May 13th, but last week I had a student that in my technology class, she emailed me asking me for support, and it was a technical thing that she needed help with her Google Doc. And I said, hey, if you feel comfortable enough, let me have access to it and I can see what I can look at. I'm not going to fiddle in there because it was actually her thesis. So I looked at it, I took screenshots, and I emailed her back. But it's one of those things where I feel accomplished as a professor that my students can come back and ask for help, that they can come and do this. So, and it's really, really cool to do that. So I would encourage you guys to go ahead and, yeah, just ask for assistance and don't be scared. So, do we have any questions over any specific thing? You can throw it in the chat box or ask a question, raise a hand.